Hi, everybody. Mitch Tambam here. Thanks for joining me today. This is this week's security news update. In the Security and Privacy Alerts Department, um, the Treasury Department finally sanctioned a so-called cybersecurity company in China called Sichuan Silence. Um, it is believed, or probably was, the culprit who broke into tens of thousands of firewalls back in 2020. But here's the thing. If they can get away after we know who it is, with no punishment for 4 years, before they have to create another fake company and start over, we've lost. And that's the challenge with the federal government. It does not move quickly, and seems like in this case, the Chinese definitely are winning the game. Also, in the security and privacy alerts section, there's a lot of fear in the C-suite right now after the United Healthcare CEO was assassinated in broad daylight in Midtown Manhattan last week. Not a cybersecurity issue, except to the extent that the CEO's cyber footprint probably helped identify where he was going to be when he was going to be there. Large companies are just spending literally buckets of money at this point, protecting their executive team and also their board. Small companies can't really afford to do that. One thing you can do is reduce your online footprint, which has both positive and negative effects from a marketing standpoint, obviously. There might be some help we can give you there. If you're looking for advice, reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that. This is truly an unfortunate thing, and there's no simple, easy, inexpensive answers. In the CMMC Q&A section, we have some more questions and answers that hopefully will be useful to you. One of the questions in there is, what are the top two controls that companies fail to meet when they do their assessment? And I've heard this before, but this is from an assessor. He said one is multi-factor authentication, and it's not because companies don't do multi-factor authentication, it's because they don't do it completely. They don't do it everywhere. And the other is FIPS-validated cryptography, which is a king-size pain in the tush. If you need help with either one of these subjects, again, please reach out to us. In the reference section, this is some good news. Every 3 years, the Library of Congress is required by law to review the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and consider new exemptions for what is considered hacking under DMCA. They have created some new exemptions for security researchers, specifically related to AI and how the researchers are stressing out AI to see if they can be compromised. It's less than a full-blown exemption, but it's definitely something. And if you're in the business of AI research, definitely something to look at. In the patches department, I don't know what the hell to do with these guys. Microsoft rolled out yet another patch for the Windows Common Log File System, known as the CLFS. It's buggy as hell. It runs with super elevated permissions because of what it does, and the hackers have continuously figured out how to compromise it. So Microsoft is supposedly working on a complete rewrite of CLFS, so that's great. But in the meantime, at this point, what there is to do is patch, and for whatever reason, Microsoft is not saying how the hackers got in, but I am sure both the hackers and the good guys will reverse engineer the patch soon enough, and we'll know exactly what the hell is going on. In the legal department, this is dumb. Sorry. There have been a number of lawsuits across the country accusing people of violating state wiretap laws by using web beacons on their, pixel trackers on their website. This is not wiretapping. No way, no how. There's no way you can construe it. That doesn't mean the courts won't do that, but it's not. It may not be desirable. It may not be legal for other reasons, but it's certainly not wiretapping. The Massachusetts High Court, which is kind of, their version of the state Supreme Court, rejected the premise that tracking beacons are wiretap. So yet another state high court has said, come on, guys, Nice try. And next, in light of this most recent major attack against telecom carriers, Salt Typhoon, by Chinese, Senator Wyden has introduced a bill to force carriers to do some of the things that are actually in the law right now. And part of this is related to a recent Supreme Court ruling that restricts the rulemaking powers of federal agencies. So if Congress passes this bill, and they might, then it's going to give a lot more um, credence to the fact that that they have the authority to make these regulations. So we'll see um, where that goes, but it'd be great. And next in the legal department, the Senate has passed an anti-revenge porn bill, which I think is a good thing. It will give social media companies 48 hours to take down deep fake images when reported by the victim. Now, here's the challenge. Congress, in its infinite wisdom, didn't say how the hell you do this. So it's up to the social media companies to figure out something. And I think this is something which is ripe for abuse. So we shall see what they do. We'll see. The Senate has passed the bill. It's now on the way to the House, but I'm not exactly sure. How do you identify, if this is, person X, Joe or Susie, whatever their name is, and they send you an email saying, hey, this image is non-consent. And of course, they had to create another acronym, non-consensual intimate imagery, NCII. Um, and yeah, how do I know that's a picture of Susie? How do I know the person who's sending the email is Susie? Uh, it's a challenge. The whole thing is a mess. Uh, doesn't mean you shouldn't do something about it, but boy, I don't think that there's an easy solution here. Next, in the breaches department, only a couple this week that I'm talking about. One is Artivion, Artivion, which is a company that makes devices that surgeons use in heart surgery. The hackers broke in, they stole stuff, they locked the company out of their files, and they say they're working on fixing it as quickly as they can. Oh, who knows what that is? And next, Krispy Kreme donuts is being held hostage. They're online systems are down. Apparently, luckily their donut ovens are apparently not connected to the internet, so I guess they're okay. They say they're still delivering donuts, which is a good thing, but you can't order things online and stuff like that. They're being very tight-lipped. There's a tiny little notice on their homepage. I mean, in microscopic print, it's a link to another page, which basically just says, we're experiencing certain operational disruptions, whatever the hell that means. But, one would assume it's some form of ransomware attack. Next, who's responsible for SaaS application security? That's a good question. And I think, a challenging one because, you think if you go off and hire this company to go run your whatever cloud application that you had them run, you think they're responsible for security. Well, the reality is probably not. Definitely something we can help you with. If you have questions about it, clearly from a liability standpoint, without regard to, whatever you think they might be, you're the one who's liable for it. You're the one who's going to get sued for sure. So if you're using cloud applications and it contains sensitive data, and you have questions about the security practices, reach out to us. Next, AI, of course, is a big thing, and hackers are taking to it like a duck to water. And there's all kinds of AI-based scams. It's making detecting the scams much harder because the scams are better and they're getting help. So here's a article, a list of some of the different scams that are AI based. And again, in AI, it's wonderful until you get sued. And surprisingly, the courts are actually weighing in on this much more quickly than I would have expected. There already have been some court decisions. There are court cases that have been filed. So understand that if you use AI and your AI says something, and it could be something as simple as, an insurance company saying the AI says you have coverage, and you don't, or an airline saying, this rule applies and it doesn't. That could be a problem. So think about that. And lastly, we have the news bites. We're seeing new kinds of ransomware. What I'm calling ransomware is a chaos mechanism. They don't actually steal anything. They don't actually want a ransom. You actually have no way to get your files back. They're just gone. So hopefully you have good backups. But apparently it's becoming popular. Also, Romania's top court nullified their presidential election due to Russian interference. That's not a great thing. And Europol shut down a pirate IP-based, internet-based TV network. They were streaming about 2,500 channels, and they were making a mint until they got caught. Next, the Texas AG is continuing his campaign against big tech. More power to him. And Apple, supposedly very privacy-centered focused company, maybe not so much. There's some the jury is still out on this particular one, but some employees are not terribly happy with the company's practices. And lastly, if you're using AI, if you're thinking about using AI, if you want to use AI, if you don't want to use AI, you're not sure if you're using it optimally, well, you can talk to our chief AI officer and get some advice about that. We'd be happy to talk to you. So until next time, stay safe. Thanks for listening. And if we can help you, please let us know.